Hi, I'm Charbria Shine, and welcome back to Max Out Girl. Hi guys, we are back with Max Out Girl, and we have an amazing guest today, my girl Deraee Henderson.
Woo! That's the crowd.
Y'all know we friends, right? Can't you tell? We are so excited to have Deraee. She is an entrepreneur and an author and a speaker. And today we are going to talk about her book, Living in the Spirit of Joy. Choose to be joyful. So we are going to be talking about joy today.
Yes,
Woo-hoo.
my subject.
Yes, this is one of her great subjects that she talks about, and also walking and living in purpose. And we're going to kind of get to that. And joy is so important because I feel like in today's time, you don't see a lot of joy. A lot of people, they kind of lack it, or they're walking, they look like doom and gloom, or they're just struggling in life in general. So I kind of want to talk about that because I've heard that joy and happiness is very different. Mm-hmm. I've always heard that. Like, people are like, oh, I'm so happy. And then next minute, they're not happy. Right? But then if somebody has joy, it's very different, especially in the kingdom of God, right? So what is the difference? Let's talk about it a little bit, because we want to talk about the difference that joy is a choice, right? And then we talk about happiness. I always think of it happenstance. What's happening, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm happy because life is going great. Or this just happened. I got a promotion versus joy, right? So I'm not going to give it all because I know the answers, but I want her to tell it because this is her book. So gotta talk about joy. First of all, what made you write a book about joy? Let's get on that first, then we'll talk about those questions. I want to know that first. I'm going fast, but I want to know. Why did you write this book?
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes.
Again, yes, I am Deraee Henderson,
Yes.
and let's talk about it. Why did I write about joy? Because
so
God told me to.
Okay. And that's really it. You said that in your book, right?
I said that in my book.
Yeah.
So let's go back to actually being an author.
Yes.
Never thought about it, dreamt about it, didn't want no part of it.
Really?
Do you hear me, child?
For real?
Yes. But
okay, I didn't know that.
We do not know the plans that He has for us.
Yeah.
Even though we may think we do.
Mm-hmm.
Do everything else outside of His will. Mm-hmm. He has our steps ordered.
Yes.
So this book, Living in the Spirit of Joy, was birthed out of the Citywide Book Fair. Okay. So,
which is awesome, guys. I've been to all of them. Well, I missed the last.
You missed the last one, but that's okay, girl. That's okay because it's annual.
Yeah.
So God instructed me to do a citywide book fair. I'm not an author, host, MC, and it's a whole story behind that.
Yeah.
But in the third year, He said you were going to write a book, and I was like, no. I said, we have the authors. Remember, I'm the host of the citywide book fair. You have so many authors in the world.
Yeah.
God, you don't need me. Mm-hmm. And I always thought about what would I write about if I was an author. Okay. So, hosting a citywide book fair, you're seeing all these beautiful minds coming together. You have your authors writing their stories, and I'm like, what would I actually write about? And you as an author as well, I'm not sure if that was a question that you had for yourself. When He instructed you to write the book, He may have just given you the instruction or exactly what you were going to write. But for me, I was wondering what would someone want to read from me? Wow. Because I thought an author was the super smart individual who just studied and
got 10 PhDs.
Yeah, and all this, right?
Yeah.
But He told me to write about what I knew. And at first I didn't know anything about joy. And I talk about that in my book. Mm-hmm. I was the opposite of joy. And so what has happened over the years, getting to know God and having a relationship with Him, I started to choose joy over every circumstance. Mm-hmm. And so He said, that's what you're going to write about. Yeah. And I said, oh, okay, I get that. And so, but when I did this, even though I said, okay, you gave me the subject, I still didn't know where to start. And and so God will set everything up for you. He gave me an accountability partner. He gave me a time limit. He told me where to look, who to talk to. He gave me my editor. God set everything up prior to me writing this book. And it was all set up through the Citywide Book Fair.
I love that. So you came up with the Citywide Book Fair, and you weren't even an author yet.
Absolutely not.
Wow.
I was hosting when the Citywide Book Fair was birthed. in what, 19, no, I said 19, 20.
I'm about to say 19, I ain't get to that one.
When I was born, 1919. But, I look good, but the era where all these pop-up shops, what was that? 2019, 2018, 2020, all these pop-up shops started coming about, and I was asked to MC and host, because, you know, I was lively and all that good stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I was hosting these pop-up shops, and one pop-up shop I hosted, it was this author sitting in the middle of someone who was serving food and someone who was selling clothes, and they had their books and just themselves, and they looked so out of place. And so as I'm going through and interviewing, I kind of said to myself, oh, they look like they're out of place. I talked to them and, you know, things of that nature. And as I was saying that, God was imparting in me, yeah, they are. And I was like, oh, you know, that's so sad. You know, maybe we'll pray for him, Jesus. Yeah. And he was like, I said, someone should do something about that. He said, yeah, you will. And I'm thinking to myself, how?
Right.
And so as I continued to talk to God, and he told me, he imparted the citywide book fair, I was like, the first question I said, God, I am not an author, and I'm not interested. Yeah. And he was like, that doesn't matter, just do what I said. So I did. And God gave me everything to do to set up the citywide book fair. Wow. And of course, you were one of my first guest speakers for the citywide book fair, and we're going into our 5th year.
That's amazing.
But in that, like I said, I had no interest in being an author. Wow. But this is how God set it up. He set me up around authors. He set me up around publishers, editors, people that was in that field. Yeah. I started communing and building relationships. Now we have a family. Yeah. And so when it was time for him to say, it's time for you to write,
you already had everything.
I had no excuse.
Yeah. You couldn't say, well, I don't know what to do. Well, you know somebody that knows what to do.
Exactly.
I love that, because sometimes when God tells us, well, I feel like a lot of time when God tells us to do something, we feel like we're not equipped within ourselves, because he's challenging us to trust him. But I love the fact how you gave the testimony that he placed the people around you. Yes. You know, and sometimes we may not see that, but you have to trust that if God called you or tells you to do something, he's going to put those people or resources around you. Or even if you have to seek it out, he's going to help you find it.
Absolutely.
So I love that. So I love that, because you weren't an author, but you were obedient to God, ended up being an author. You wrote this book, wrote a second book, which we'll talk about after this book, but I've been to them and they're amazing, and I feel like it's so helpful to not just to authors, but to people who want to be an author, aspiring authors, because I feel like it could be a daunting task when you want to write a book but you have no idea where to go with it.
And absolutely. And what God has shown me, not only to bring authors together, but the community. Yeah. So what the Citywide Book Fair does is it brings the community, the authors together. And at the last Citywide Book Fair, when I had it at 4285 Cleveland Street, Gary, Indiana, Embassies of Christ, he showed me how the ministry and the community are going to come together.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And I said, that is amazing. And when I incorporated the kiddie corner in that, he just showed me the whole community coming together and wanting and having that passion to read, to study, to use our imagination again, because now with social media and technology, we don't have to use our imagination. Someone is doing it for us. But God doesn't want us to lose that.
I love that. So let's get to this book, this juicy book over here, Living in the Spirit of Joy. So I'm going to read something, all right?
Yes.
Living in the Spirit of Joy is a spiritual practice that involves connecting our spirit and God, our Creator. It is about finding a deeper sense of purpose and meaning in our lives, and recognizing that joy is not simply an emotion, but a state of being that can be nurtured and cultivated through spiritual practices such as prayer, meditation, gratitude, and service to others.
Yes.
So I love that. So we kind of just talking about joy, but I wanted to kind of just say what living in the spirit of joy is, what you thought that is, kind of your introduction, to kind of give them a basis of what we're talking about, because I feel like joy can mean so many different things to so many different people.
Yes.
So I want you to tell me, from your perspective, what is joy?
Joy is perpetual. It's in the Bible, right? Continuous. God talks about joy in the Bible, but not really happiness. If you look for it, right?
Yeah.
And you said it before, happy is happenstance. That's what I usually say. But joy is a choice to understand. If you understand that God is with you, never leaves you, never forsakes you, He ordered your steps, how can you not be in joy?
Yeah.
If God is with you, He is the presence of joy. that does not mean you're not going to have a challenge. That does not mean, and that's another thing that we need to understand when it comes to the fruit of the Spirit. You will be challenged.
Definitely.
But that's why the fruit is there for you.
Yeah.
The fruit is there to handle each and every challenge for you, to gird you up, to lift you up, to strengthen you through the challenge.
Yeah.
So, you have a bad day, and you decide that I'm going to wake up. I already know this has happened, or I'm going through this circumstance. I can either feed the circumstance with my worry, my doubt, my fear, or I can diminish the circumstance with joy, with laughter, with allowing myself to be a blessing to someone. So joy to me is understanding that no matter the circumstance, no matter the situation, you serve a God and honor a God that's going to get you through every circumstance.
Yes.
And I'm saying even grief and loss, because I think sometimes we want to cut that off.
Yep.
We want to say, okay, no, well, for grief and loss, okay, I get to just be on this side, or I get, what's that? I can't think of what I'm saying right now, but it's just basically like I get a pass. That's what I'm thinking about. I get a pass in certain situations where I can act a different way. No, you do not get a pass if you truly trust God.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love, like, for me personally in my life, I had to learn, ignore your feelings. Because sometimes you feel, oh, I don't have joy because I feel like crap today. It's like, no, it's a choice.
It's a choice.
Your flesh is going to try to make you feel sad or depressed or lonely or mad or whatever it is, but you can choose joy.
You can choose it, and you said ignore. I'm going to say capture, control.
Yes. And cast down that emotion.
Yes. We have feelings. But you're able to control your feelings. Because I think sometimes if we ignore it, sometimes we'll press it down and then something will happen. And I know that's happened with me.
Okay.
But when I say
Instead
I get
of dealing with it.
Exactly. When I get to control you, which means that when I say joy, that does not mean that I'm not going to get sad. I'm not going to be mad, right? If I stub my toe right now, baby, I'm going to be mad, right? And my toe is going to hurt, okay? But what I choose to do when I stub my toe, I capture that thought of, thinking, all day I'm not going to be able to walk. Oh my God, my toe is going to throb. Yeah. Oh, I can't believe I hit my toe. Why am I so clumsy? No, I control the emotion of, ooh, I know this hurt, but God, Lord, heal the pain real quick, because I cannot go around with my feet hurt. I got things to do. So I control the emotion, and you have to look at it from a different perspective. Don't allow what's happening, if it's something that's going to take you in a downward spiral, like you said, don't allow that to control you. Choose one of the fruit of the Spirit. Choose love. Choose gentleness. Choose kindness. You have to make that choice. And in the book, I talked about 11 ways that God taught me to live in the spirit of joy. Because remember, this was not always the case. Yeah,
and you kind of talk about that in the book. You weren't always that joyful, right?
I was totally opposite.
Yeah.
Talk
about the smile.
Look,
she said she didn't even smile.
I didn't smile. I didn't smile at all. And what's the saying that the old saints would say? Mean as a rattlesnake. Baby, you did not want to see me come. You did not.
So just because.
And the thing about, because what I would do is the emotions that would come, I let them rule me. If I felt mad, you knew it.
And you're mad all day.
And I'm mad all day. The only thing that made me happy was a coping mechanism, right? I had a coping mechanism, and that would make me happy, but that only lasts for so long, right? It's temporary. And that's the thing about happiness. Happiness is temporary.
It's fleeting.
And I'm like, I can be happy right now. I'm happy that we're having this interview. I'm happy I'm with my girlfriend, but what happens when the interview is over and she leaves? Am I not happy anymore?
Yeah, it's so interesting you said that. I just saw an interview. It was a supermodel, and she's really famous, and they were asking her, so do you see yourself as beautiful and this amazing person? And she was saying, everybody loves me on the outside. She said, but inside, I want to feel like I do on the outside. She said, during the season, she travels. She does like 60 runway shows. She loves it. Everyone's there. She said, but when that's over and everybody's gone and she's in her hotel room by herself, she has no joy. And I mean, I just heard that like yesterday, so it kind of correlates what we're saying. It's like when the party is over and everybody's gone and you're stuck with you, yourself, and I, right? Your circumstances, can you find joy? And it doesn't matter if it's good circumstances or bad, because you talk about it in your book, Paul. If you know the story of Paul when they were in jail. Come on now. Come on. You know what I'm saying? And he was falsely accused in jail. So I'm like, you're in jail and he's encouraging the saints. He's praising and worshiping God. That's not a natural response, right? Mm-hmm. Our flesh is not going to want to do that naturally. But they chose joy. Because really what I realized in dire circumstances is I can't change the situation by wallowing in my sadness or my anger or worrying. My thing would be worrying. And I realized, I guess the word says, you can't add nothing to your life, to the day. I mean, what good is it going to do but make you feel more stressed, sick, angry? And so I have, like you said, capture those thoughts, because if you don't, it's going to take you down that downward spiral, and that's exactly where the enemy wants you.
Yes, and so much in what you just said.
Come on, spill it out.
Come on, so much.
Yes.
Paul, real quick, let's talk about when he said rejoice.
Yes.
And I've learned that means go back to. So that means that you're constantly going back to joy when someone says rejoice, which means that we are there, or you have been there at some time.
I love it.
And you have to go back. You just constantly go back. So Paul being in that dire situation, and I have a workshop to this book. I had my workshop, and I said that with Paul. I said, Paul was in a prison where the prison that they have now in 2024 is like it's like a resort to the prison that Paul was in. You hear me?
It's nothing like
it. Paul was down there party with crocodiles. In these wet and crazy circumstances. He was chained up to jailers.
Was he even beaten at this point?
He was beaten probably, and still, as he getting knocked up out the side of his head, love Jesus, praise God. Let me tell you about this Jesus. Let me encourage you. So how many jailers did he get saved? How many times did he rejoice in that situation? And so I love that God is trying to show us. He said, look, I know what you're going through. But if you decide to constantly live in perpetual joy, rejoice, go back to come back to me all the time, because God is joy. And when you said about the young lady, she has not what she has done with herself, and a lot of times we're kind of pushed in this corner by people. People has made her feel a certain type of way when they're glamming her up and she's walking the runway, and they put her on a pedestal for that time. But when the pedestal come down, because she has not realized, she has not taken the time to focus and look in the mirror and see all the flaws when the makeup is not there, and still say, I am beautiful, I am wonderfully made. She has not made that choice, right? We have to make that choice to take that time to not only have time with God, but see the beautiful creation He has created, right? And we talk about
authentic self,
as our authentic self. And when you said about the smiling, I do smiling exercises till this day, and I was sharing that in my workshop. I said, you have to get up. I said, you brushing your teeth, washing your face, whatever, you need to look in that mirror and you need to smile. Hold it for 10 seconds. Hold that smile. Because I'm going to tell you this. We did an exercise. I took their phone. I said, let's take your phone. I said, now let's take a picture and not smiling. I said, let's take a picture. They took the picture smiling. I said, give it to the person next to you. And the person next to you.
What you got to do?
And this was all the Holy Ghost, because this wasn't even in the curriculum. Gave it to the person next to him, and I said, tell me what you see. And they were calling out sadness. They were calling out hopelessness. They were calling out confusion. And I said, now, when you walk into the room, this is what people are seeing. But not knowing. Not knowing, not being conscious of it. And so for years, I was walking in the room with this frown on my face, because I wore everything that happened to me all those years. Every time, whatever you said negative to me, I wore that. And when I wore that, I was dark. I was frowning. It didn't matter how much makeup I put on, what I thought I was. I walked in this dark person. And when God showed me that, and when people start saying you as mean as a rattlesnake, to, oh my God, you just bring so much joy. You light up the room every time. You're an atmosphere changer. I started receiving it, and I started walking in it, and I said, God, this is who you created.
Yes, I love
that other person. I don't know who that joker was, but this girl right here,
I love that.
I like her.
I love that because think about it. We're supposed to be atmosphere changers, right?
Yes.
I mean, we're not supposed to add to the confusion and the sadness and the sorrow.
In a good way,
right?
We have to say that in a joyful way,
in a good way,
because you can change the atmosphere. I changed the atmosphere
with the stank attitude.
With the stank attitude, like, oh, here she comes.
No, you're right, and I know people like that. People don't want to see them coming.
Don't want to see. So no, as atmosphere changers, I mean that we're supposed to uplift the spirit, change the whole atmosphere. They're supposed to see God in you when you walk in. If they're not seeing that, check yourself.
Yeah. It's so true. And I think when we realize that we're here for God and we're here to, bless people and bring them to Christ, it helps us not to be selfish. Because let's be real, we're not always feeling joyful. Like we say, that's why we're not saying it's a feeling, right? It's a choice. But we have to choose it because we're supposed to be blessing those around us. And sometimes we don't feel like doing that. We like, I got my own issue today. You know what I'm saying? Let's be real. I got my own issue. But it's like when you commune with the Holy Spirit, it's like he reminds you, he checks you like, somebody needs you today, right? Be my hands and feet. That's what we're supposed to do. And again, we're not saying we're perfect, but then repent. Say, okay, Lord, I done messed up. Now, Lord, get me back on track. Let me, be that light. Because that's what we're really here to do. And I love it when someone's down and I'm able to lift them up. I mean, it's been situations, and I'm sure you've been in situations where people are hopeless to the point they don't want to live anymore. And God is using you. A smile, something as simple as a smile can change someone's life. So I just think it's so important to be conscious of that, to realize that you could be saving someone's life or even their day. You just don't know how much joy you could bring to someone's life. So I love this.
Yes. And it's so funny because sometimes I would catch myself even washing dishes, and this has been recently. I'm like, Lord, what's going on? And I'll be thinking about something and my face is downcast, and I'm washing dishes and I just and it may seem
start doing this.
And it may seem like that is crazy, but
no, it's an exercise.
It's an exercise. And I'm like, okay, why are you feeling this way, and why is it making your face? And now I know when my face is feeling a certain type of way. Even when I'm going into the stores, and
you'll fix it.
If I'm in my car and I know I'm concentrating or listening to someone heard something, when I get out the car, I'm walking in the store or wherever I'm going, I put a smile on my face. And I'm gonna tell you, one day I was doing that. I was coming out the salon, and it's a woman who, she walks the streets. Okay, she walks the streets, and she just yells out anything. And a lot of times it's not too nice. And I'm coming out and I see her, and I'm like, I put that smile on, and I'm locking the door. I turn around. She looked at me, and she had, I'm telling you, she had some things going on. She looked at me and she said, "What you grinning at, brown sugar?" And I just was like,
at least she called you brown sugar. That's better than what she normally be saying.
And I said, God, look at, and I just laughed, and me and God just had a chuckle, because I said, look at that. I said, even though, we never know, like you said, what that smile may do for someone, and for her to even stop and say that, and not call me another name, but call me that brown sugar, it just was like, I said, God, I know I'm on the right path, and I just thank you for allowing me and to share this. And we're not here for ourselves. We're not. We're here for each other. Yeah. You need to understand that what you do in this life is not just for you.
I love that. No, I love that so much that you say that, because we don't realize that we can be healing to someone else. Simple things. It's not always deep, and sometimes we don't realize that. But when I start realizing, like, no, your smile is impacting people, or your kind hello, because some people, sometimes in this world, people aren't like, good morning, hello. Yes. A lot of people don't do that anymore.
They don't do that.
It's so weird, right? And I'm like, hey, good morning, how you doing? And sometimes they might say, you're too much, Probably both of us might. People probably say we both too much, so, because when we're together, you better be ready.
Because even when I was coming, I was on the call. But as soon as I got off the call, I was like, hey, y'all, what's up? They're like, hey.
Yeah. No, but it's I love it.
It's like, I need to acknowledge that I see you.
Yeah.
It's not all about me. I see you. And like you said, you could have had something on your brain or something like that. And for someone to just be in a joyous way of saying, hey, how you doing? That can kind of like snatch you out of something, right?
Yep.
And have a listening ear. And then we need to be wise. We need to be looking with our spiritual eyes.
Yeah, discernment.
We need to have that. You may need something, and I'm gonna say this as well. So living in the spirit of joy, you're joyful. That does not mean go around looking like the Joker, just with the smile.
But you gotta be screaming all the time.
That does not mean that, because you know that may not attract someone, right?
Might turn them away.
It may turn them away. So you use wisdom. Yes, you may come in with a smile, but then when you have to actually talk to that person, you know, listen to them.
Yeah.
Listen to what's going on, and God will just give you that discernment and that wisdom to give to that person.
I love that. Something that I want to kind of shed light on that you talked about, and I'm really big about this. You talked about part of living in the spirit of joy is protecting your peace. Because I feel like some people can be, like I noticed, I could be naturally joyful, but then if I'm around certain people, you feel drained. You're like, why do I always feel bad after I leave their presence? So talk about that a little bit.
I call them the peace thieves. And when God gave me that, I said, Lord.
I like it.
As the peace thieves.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. Sometimes they do not know that they are doing that. So that's what we need to know. And some people actually do.
Right.
But a lot of times we encounter those who do not know they're doing that. And the reason why they don't know is because they don't know themselves. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is when you come in with that joy, and it seems like everything is always going right with you, and then they have all these issues going on, they want to just pile the issues, not knowing they just piling the issues, trying to dim your light, and you know you're wore out by the time you finish talking to them, right? Because you're drained. And let me tell you why, because you've taken their burdens but you haven't cast it. The word says cast your cares to him. So even as a coach and you know, a speaker or a mentor, when I am giving that from someone, I release it back to God. I don't hold it. Even though he's giving me the wisdom and the guidance to give them, it's not coming from me. So it's it's like you giving it to me and I'm giving it to him. It's like it's an assembly line.
Yeah, that's good.
Don't hold it, because if it stays right here, then you're wondering why you're heavy, or you're talking to your husband crazy, or you got this frown on your face, and
going off on the kids.
And they like, Ma, all I asked was for some cereal, you know. But you're holding what someone has given you, because spiritual transfer is real.
It is. Yep.
It's absolutely real. Please do not think that this is just something someone is saying, or no, it's real. So when someone is transferring those burdens to you, please cast it. And that's why I say keep yourself. And if you know that you are engaging with a peace thief, in the nicest way. Because sometimes they don't understand, or sometimes we just be like, okay, I ain't gonna take this phone call, or if I see them coming, I'm running this way. And now they're like, wait a minute, what did I do to you? You know, then you have some tension there. But in the nicest way, I've had to tell someone, you know, you're trying to give me all this, I give back to you, but it just does not seem like you're receiving it. I cannot spend this much time with you,
so
because I'm protecting my spirit.
Is you're trying to help them, give them advice. They don't want it. They're not taking it. They just want to keep dumping their issues on you.
Yeah, a lot of times people do not, they say they want help, but they don't want to let go of what's burdening them.
They don't want to do the work.
They don't want to do the work. They don't want to let go. Sometimes they can't let go.
They need
and so all you're doing, you're constantly filling up an empty cup. It's a hole in the cup. And so that's a peace thief. It's a hole in the cup. Or sometimes people, because they're not good by themselves, they do not like being by themselves. So if they're not in this position with this person, somewhere with this person, they want to be with you, and because they can't go to sleep because they're not used to being by themselves. So here they go with you, and they're taking up all your time, and you have something to do. It's so many different peace thieves out there. But once God reveals to you, or you like, okay, wait a minute, God will give you the wisdom, guidance, and knowledge on how to talk to them in a way where it doesn't crush their spirit. And that's another thing. We don't want to crush someone's spirit, but we have to be honest. We have to be honest. You have to let them know, okay, if this is someone you're pouring into, and you know, it's just an empty cup, you got to let them know.
Look, I love that.
I can't keep doing this. Or if it's someone that just want to take up all your time, okay, this time I'm doing this. So we just have to be honest with them.
I love that, because I think sometimes people don't want to be rude, or like, I don't want to say, but you do have to protect your peace. And God will show you, like you just said, you don't have to be rude or mean, but you have to tell them the truth in love. So so let's move on. So I know you have tips. How many tips in walking in the spirit of joy do you have? Is it 11?
It's 11 in the book, but it's 5,555.
Y'all heard that? So we're not going to give it all away because we want you to get the book because it's so powerful.
And did we go over all the green tabs? Did y'all see all the green tabs? Did we go over all the green tabs?
I have all my green tabs. Actually, a lot of it we did in conversation. It's so funny because me and her just flow. But I want to get to one of the tips, because part of, you said, living in the spirit of joy is kind of living or walking in purpose. Talk about that, because me and you both, we love to talk about purpose. So we go on a tangent. So I don't want to go on a tangent, but I do want to give them a little taste because it's so important to us, and I know that's important to God. Walking, in purpose. So talk about that a little bit.
Well, let me ask you a question. You out there watching, do you really believe that you're able to live in joy not knowing why you're here? Do you believe that? Because you will keep searching for the reason why, or what makes you feel good a lot of times, or what makes you happy, or how much money you can get, or this elaborate life. Constantly searching for that.
And it won't fulfill.
It won't fulfill, not understanding that your joy is tied to purpose. What is purpose? Knowing the reason why you're here. Knowing the reason why you're here. I abused life for so long because I did not know why I was here. And so one of the reasons why I'm so adamant about purpose is because first, not knowing is a time waster. You're wasting time. You're wasting time when you're just living for what you believe you should be doing. And it's not always our fault. It's kind of instilled in us as we're children, as we grow up. Go to school, go to college, get a good job. It's like a path to tell you what to do. But I'm like, at this point, can we add the curriculum in school of purpose? Why isn't that taught in the home? Why isn't that taught in it's being taught in church, right? You hear more about purpose in church now. So not only in church, in the home, in the school, we should be taught the reason why we are here, because we are tied to people spiritually, that we're supposed to be uplifting and assigned to them to help them on their path. But when I don't know my path, I'm out of order. And then now you're out of order, right? And the person prior to me is out of order, because I truly believe we are assigned to people to help them to get to purpose.
I love that. No, I love that a lot. I just recently was talking to someone and they were saying how they were kind of depressed, and I was asking why, and they said because I just really was asking God, what am I here for? And so that's so true. And I've also known situations where people are like, I don't know, they're searching for it, they don't really know. And we did was that last year when we did Women in Purpose? Women in Purpose. We had a whole thing about it, and we really talked about it because it's so important. But we also were saying, like, don't get so caught up in that you're sad and depressed. Seek the Lord. Yes. Because He will give you. And it could be simple, like, what do you love to do? Yes. Like, what are you good at? Yes. What problem in the world bothers you? Yes. Right? Because a lot of times, well, all the times, our purpose is attached to helping someone else. It is. Service to others. It is. One way or another. Even if it's you sell makeup, what problem are you solving? Okay. Beauty, yes. Okay? Yes. If you sell clothes, what problem are you solving? We want to look good. So it's even if it seems like it's not a main, like, humane issue, we're solving a problem, right?
And that's what we are. We're problem solvers. Yes. And in order for you to solve the problem, you need to know the purpose. You need to know your gifts and talents. Yes. And you can only do that by seeking God, who is the creator, who created us to create. So that's one of my missions. It's like one of my missions, because when I tell you I wasted so much time trying to see 20 plus years, and you wasting time. Let me give you a tip if you're like, oh, I'm not wasting time. Let me see. Let me tell. How many times have you switched jobs? That's one. Yeah. How many certifications or licenses are you going out there in different fields? How many times have you thought about moving because you believe you'll do greater somewhere else? How often are you changing friendships? All of this ties to purpose, because you're looking for things. You're searching. You're all over the place. Yes. Have you attached yourself to someone because it looks like they're doing great, but it's really not something you want to do?
That's a good one, because I know a lot of people that you tie yourself to someone. It looks like their life is fabulous and they're doing this, but you really don't.
God didn't call you to do that.
You didn't call them. You really don't have.
you don't want to do it, but you do it because you think the end result is going to be good for you.
Yep.
Understand, you can have all the money in the world, the houses, the cars, what the man or the woman you think that are of your dreams.
Yep.
But if it's not purpose filled, if it's not in your destiny, you will not be joyful in it. And then another thing, your success. People measure, that's another thing. We're raised to measure success with money.
And
no, you're successful when you're doing the will of God.
Yes.
In purpose, helping the people that He has assigned to you.
I love that, because I think in this world, everybody compares themselves to everybody, which is such a mistake.
And it's jacked up because
such a mistake.
Because of this is YouTube, but because of social media, because
this is YouTube.
We have this access, so someone can see Charbria and be like, oh my God, I really want to do that, but you don't understand that she's purposed to do that.
Right.
See, that's the thing. We see someone doing something, but you don't understand their purpose. And let's talk about, it's a purpose for all of us. All of us are to honor God and serve people.
Yep.
That's flat. That's for everybody, right?
Build the kingdom.
But you also have seasons in purpose, different things. So when I say that, if you have been working for 40, 50 plus years and now you have retired, now your purpose has shifted. So it doesn't mean you retire so now I do nothing.
Right.
No.
Get busy. In purpose. Not
In
just
purpose.
busy.
So now you're asking God, I've been here for 40 plus years. I've done this. I've raised my family. We have the grandkids now. I'm still able to move. What is my purpose in this season?
Yes.
So it just does not stop. It's a saying, we don't retire, we expire. When I leave, I want it all out.
Right.
Everything that God has given me, every gift, every talent, I want it all out. And like you said, entrepreneur, I don't even consider myself an entrepreneur. I don't.
Well,
I don't.
You are, though, because you're an entrepreneur. I mean,
I know.
Everybody may not know this, but you're skilled with your hands as well. So you do hair, you do makeup. That's an entrepreneur. You pave your own way. No one has to tell you when to come, when not to come. I mean, you have clients, but you run your world. You see what I'm saying?
Is that what entrepreneurs do? They run their world?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. True. Okay, that's what we do. I feel like that's what it is. I mean, you do a lot, but you're an entrepreneur. Everything that you do is to the beat of your own drum, the Holy Spirit's drum. But you get what I'm saying? You don't have a boss telling you, you have to do this, you have to do that. You get what I mean? So that's an entrepreneur. I mean, all these women out here who are they have their nail shops and they're entrepreneurs. They're making it happen for themselves.
I thought we were just business owners doing our thing.
That's an entrepreneur. Girl, she's an entrepreneur. She does hair, she does makeup, and and she's so blessed with that. And then she has her books and she speaks and does so much other stuff too. And you're gonna get to the acting because we got a show. I mean, we're like super entrepreneurs.
But you know what? Some people look and I could say I'm going to speak for us if you don't mind.
Sure.
Some people can look at us now and say it looks like we're everywhere. I just had somebody tell me this yesterday. You're everywhere, and I'm like,
well, what they mean?
I'm not. But they feel like you're everywhere. Every time I look up, I see you doing something. You're everywhere. You're everywhere. I'm not. We're in this space right here of Northwest Indiana. We're not everywhere yet, but we're called.
We global though. No.
Yeah, we're called. But when she's, when she said that, and I've heard that so much more often now.
I've heard that,
I'm not, and I say, thank you. I'm not everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm where it's supposed to be because I'm finally obedient. I finally say yes.
Yeah.
So what happens is when you finally say yes to what God has called you to do, and I told somebody this, I said, I probably supposed to have been doing this 20 years ago. Disobedient. Now that I'm in my obedience.
Catching up. You going for it.
He's like, okay, do this. Okay, do that. And I'm like, yes, right? And so now it just seems like I'm everywhere doing everything, but I'm actually saying yes to him.
I love that you said seasons though, because like you just said before, you weren't doing it, and now this is your season to run and go. Some people would tell me same thing, similar. It's kind of like, you doing too much. Like, why are you got this, you got this, you got that. But it's like, you don't get it. This is my seat. This is the time now. Like, this is what God is saying now, because there will be time for me in particularly. Well, I'll have children. Not that you can't walk in purpose. That purpose might just shift a little, or it may take just a different form, right?
Yes.
And then for those people who feel like, well, in this season, I'm just a mom or I'm just a housewife. ain't no just nothing.
No.
Okay, God has a season,
right?
Come on, someone just, I hear that all the time. Like, or I'm just Heck, that is a very important.
No, you're
doing. That's such an important, task or purpose. And I think what I just want to encourage the audience: don't compare seasons or purposes.
Don't compare.
And you don't know what someone has gone through or currently going through or overcoming to be able to fulfill that purpose. So don't ever wish for someone else's calling or purpose.
Yes, and then as parents, let's understand we are very, very vital in our children, for our children for their purpose.
Yeah.
I did not know that, but God is so gracious, so good that by the time my daughter was 12, 13, I got saved, right?
Yeah.
But prior to that, it was chaos.
Know about it? Okay.
It was chaos for her. And in those younger years, they remember everything. They're sponges. Okay. They're absolute sponges. So I kind of beat myself up, but God, He's so good and gracious. So He said, you don't get to do that with me. And I said, no problem. But it was a season where I was beating myself up because I was like, oh, I'm this age now. I could have No. He was like, no, there's no respect of time with God.
He redeems the time.
And He redeems time. Yeah. And so my daughter, who's 30 now, every time we had these conversations, she's talking about all these great things that I was doing as she was a child. I was thinking to myself, like, Lord, you so good.
So good, because He's helping her remember the good stuff.
I'm like, you so good, right? Yeah. Not that she doesn't, but God is just that. He restores. He restores. He heals. He delivers. So I want to encourage you, no matter what season you are in, if you're watching this and you're like, you know what, these ladies up here and it looks like they have everything going on. Look, it was a time I didn't have everything going on. I'm telling, it was 5 minutes ago. Yep. Look,
we all go through
let me tell you, we
all do.
Lights, camera, action. Do not get it twisted and food and all this. No, this takes things to do. This takes someone that's in their purpose to do to assist us, right? And we're in a season where we know what we're supposed to be doing in our season. We know our purpose, and we want to help and uplift those who do not know. So do not despise these podcasts when you see them, when you're, because I'm being honest. Yeah. I was like, empowerment. I said, I'm tired of empowerment. Who y'all empowering? Who you empowering? But, we can't be like that. So God showed me, He said, it's a season. It was a season to empower, but now you are equipping. So yes, I'm an empowerment coach, but I equip you tools. Okay, and you want to put it in your beauty bag or your pouch, however you want to do it, right? Your back pocket or your purse. I'm equipping you with tools to get you to that next level, to keep that joy in your spirit, to let you know, or to even pray to God about purpose. And let's tell them this: you don't. Lord, what's my purpose? Team, it doesn't happen like that. No. It took years for me to get to this point I'm like,
yeah, I remember we talked about that before, because it wasn't like a straight path.
It wasn't a straight path. And I was doing, and you probably can attest to this, doing so many things where you thought it was purpose. But let me tell you how good He is. He would keep you in that path, even though it wasn't the exact purpose. He kept us in the lane to keep going. He's keep going. Don't give up. Don't give up.
And
don't
when you
give
get
up.
off track, He knows how to get you on track.
He knows how to get you on track. He knows how to get you.
And let me say this: God doesn't waste anything. So, like, even like some of the things, like you're saying, in our past, or I can speak for myself, that I felt like, man, I was wasting time, or wasn't in purpose, or I was at this job. It's like He helps weave it all into this beautiful bow.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I look at some of the things I'm doing now in my life, and I'm like, oh, but I learned that skill then.
Thank you for saying that.
So your job that despise your past.
Don't despise and the job that you're in is to equip you with the skills for work.
You be a sponge.
Job and work is totally different. Yeah. It's totally different. And all this is tied into this fabulous book of Living in the Spirit of Joy. Even though you may not see that, but it is
sticky notes.
It is because. I don't know about you, but it was a season, or it was a time where it was just, I just have to have the right job. I have to have the right job. I have to have the right job.
Yes.
Job.
It's all over,
and it's all over the place. But then, the things that I did in my job, all those skills
It's important.
All those skills are important, what you learn in your job to do the work.
Yeah.
So now we're working. Work is not a bad word. When people are like, oh, you're going to work. Work means I'm going to do the will of the Father.
Yeah, you're going to be productive.
Go back to the beginning. He placed Adam here and he gave him work.
Yep.
He had a work to do, right? Before the woman came. Okay, that's a whole other thing. But he had purpose and he had work.
Yeah, I love
your
that.
job is to give you your skills to do that work. So if you feel like right now I'm in a skill or a job that this is not going to help me with
Just
my work. Yes, it is.
Learn.
All those customer service years I had,
girl.
all those customer service, all those different things that I knew how to treat someone, to talk to someone. That's why I say, girl, they need to bring customer service training back. They need to, baby.
Girl, when me and Louis be talking about that, I be like, girl,
if y'all do not stop,
because no.
We had, let me tell you,
you need that in
before
every
you was
genre.
able to flip a burger, you had customer service training back in the days.
And if you couldn't pass that,
you couldn't. You
couldn't
had to. And so the thing about it, so every skill that I learned, I was an insurance agent,
and it's helping you now.
It's helping me now.
Yeah.
Every skill I learned, and I laugh because people say, "Oh my, you look familiar. You look familiar."
You was in insurance,
and I'll tell people, "Oh, I'm famous." You know,
you've had this job, you've had that.
I've had this job, but I used to be on the billboards all over Gary as a farmer's agent. So the thing about it, all the different things that I did, those jobs are helping me in my work, which is purpose today.
Yeah. No, I love that. I know we said a mouthful, but that is, we always do. But that's just us. But that's amazing because that is part of walking in joy. I was thinking today, because I've been on this path, like just thinking about some of these concepts, and I read the book. And so it was so powerful because I saw something on YouTube, or I call it YouTube University, and someone was saying like, what you're doing, do you wake up in the morning? Now, this doesn't mean you're always going to feel like getting up. That's not what we're saying, or feel amazing. But do you love what you do? Like, do you have a passion for it? Does it feel like work? Because I remember people say, I think I said this at the empowerment, what would you do? Two things. What would you do and enjoy it if you knew you weren't going to get paid for it? Right? What would you do? And what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Man,
enhancing beauty
come
all
on,
day,
come on. Like,
baby,
what would you do? And you know me,
day.
it'll be screen, stage, fashion. But it's like, think of those things that you like, that you would literally do if no one paid you, and you would love it.
You would love it. I tell people all the time. And I believe my business is blessed, right? Blessed. It's not about all the money, but I'm blessed because I sowed the seed of the gift before the money.
Yep.
I did. I would go and do fashion shows. I would do the makeup for the models. I would go and connect with different organizations. I would come in, I'll do this for free. I was the one, even though I had the skill, I was helping you carry your bag. You probably just started yesterday. I didn't care. I was serving you. And as a servant of the Lord, we should understand when we're serving, we're honoring God and we're honoring his people.
I love that.
And so I would do makeup. Baby, I could do makeup all day. I could enhance your beauty all day, right?
So out of all the stuff you do, so is that your favorite? That's makeup.
It's so funny.
I know that makeup more than hair.
Makeup more than hair.
Yes, I do know that.
But this was the funny part.
I do know that. Y'all, we off subject, but
I was a tomboy. Let's talk about it.
She was.
I got so many scars from climbing trees, a busted head.
But that's how the Lord do, though.
I didn't think about no makeup until I was 30-something years old.
That's how the Lord does.
But that's how it is. And so I would do that, and I would just teach. I love empowering and speaking. I can do that all day because I feel like that was something missed in my generation for me. I missed that.
You want to be that for others.
Yeah, and I want to be that for others.
I love that.
And not to say it wasn't there, but when you're in a different season and you're using things to cope with your issues, it's kind of hard to see what God has lined up for you.
Yeah.
And I want people to know I'm here for you.
Yeah. I love that, y'all. As y'all know, we can talk all day, but we have such a good time.
Look, is something else in the book?
It's everything in the book. But we want them to get it, so I'm not gonna give them all your tips. But I can talk about one more, and then we'll wrap it up. I love. Okay, so you want us to write some of the things that bring us joy and all that, and one of them is like praising, singing to the Lord. And what the Lord had told me was because growing up, I was just very theatrical. But like I had noticed in like recent times, I had become quiet. Not when we're out and about, like quiet. But like at home.
At home.
You know what I mean? Just very quiet. And I'm like, oh, why do I feel this way? And the Holy Spirit was like, you used to be so exuberant at home and just, you know, singing and dancing in the house, music, worshiping. And I was like, you need to get back to that. So, you know, when you say like, what, you know, what is it that brings you joy, or what do you need to do more of? And I'm like, sometimes you force yourself. You don't always feel like singing and dancing and praising God, but that brings such a joy. It brings such a joy.
It brings such a joy. I'm going to say this too.
I love it.
Ask God about this too, because I have been in that season of a quiet, and I'm not quiet.
You sound like me. I said, I'm not.
So when I'm not quiet. So if I'm at home, Henderson's gone.
He might be trying to talk to you too, though.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And so I would have the music, the worship music going, and I'm sitting there because I like to praise dance. I'm praise dancing, then I'm singing off key, and I'm just going. I'm like, Lord, and I have not been doing that for a few months.
Okay.
And I've been at home.
Has he been silent?
And I have been, and he's been, and I said that to myself too. Yeah. I said, what season? No, I said, what season is this?
Yeah, that's true.
So now you gotta start asking, opposed to what's wrong? What's the issue? What season is this?
Good.
And God said, you need to hear me.
I love that.
And so I said, okay, so now I'm at home. I'm not playing the music loud or anything. So as I'm working, he's able to speak to me just as I'm working, right? And when I was working, I was listening to one of my favorite songs, and I said, I need to hear that again. And I heard it, I blasted it, and I went into worship, and I just cried out to him, and I just thanked him for everything he was doing. Yeah. So I was able to sing and dance and cry out to him, but it wasn't this everyday thing, even though I worship him every day. But that's a whole different thing, right? Your worship is different. But if you find yourself not doing what you normally do, ask him what season this is. Yeah,
because it can be different. That is so true. I love that, because this is a quieter season for me. I do know that for sure.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that it's good to discern that and not always think that something is wrong because of that.
Yeah.
And sometimes we change, and sometimes that's not wrong either.
I tell people all the
sometimes
time.
we might, you know, just grow in an area or develop, and it doesn't mean like, oh, what's wrong with me? I used to be jumping off the walls. Well, honey, I'm 40. I don't need to be jumping off no walls right
now.
Hello? Okay, I don't need, that was when you was 25.
Girl, you ain't 20 no more.
Okay, I don't need to be jumping off no wall.
But I tell people too, we're ever-changing beings. So if you're one that say, well, this is me, this is how I'm going to be, I've been like this for years.
Girl,
no, you haven't.
No.
Okay, let me tell you. No, you've been running back and grabbing that.
Yeah.
That's what you've been running back and grabbing that.
You should always want to grow.
You should always want to grow, and you're not the same person. Right now, we are changing. Skin cells are dying every second of the day.
We're not the same from when we first met each other.
We're not the same. You don't stay the same. Girl, 1919. We don't stay the same. So please get that out your head. I'm the same person. You do not want to be the same person, because if you're not growing, you're losing out.
You know what I don't like when people say sometimes? I know what they're trying to say, but I'm like, when they marry somebody and they're just like, you're not the same person when I met you. We ain't going to be the same person that you.
Baby, it's some things going on at that crib. We ain't the same.
You're not the same.
We're not the same.
And I get what maybe some people are trying to say, but we shouldn't be the same. Things should get better and better and better.
Especially if I was holding out. No, I'm not the same. I'm not the same.
Yeah, I'm not the same.
I ain't the same. What I'm saying? I'm a little grown in that, baby.
You know what? She getting off top of y'all. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
But you know what? It's a lack of us. No, I'm gonna say this. It's generational. Yeah. You hear things from generation to generation. You say it just like I say. Poverty minded is generational. It's generational. Yes. We need to
gotta break that cycle.
We gotta break the cycle, the curse. Sometimes we just say stuff because we've heard it, and that's cliche. And it's a cliche. We think we should say it, but we gotta understand. Our words are powerful, and then also sometimes you don't have to say anything. Just smile.
Yeah. And for me, pray.
Smile and pray at the same time.
Praying to my
Lord,
spirit.
help them.
Yes.
Help them.
That really is.
But one thing I know I've changed, I don't know, let's just talk about it real quick. The joy of being married. So, you're about 5 years in.
Yeah, 5 years. We've been together 6 years.
Yeah, and I keep forgetting how many years. I'm hoping I'm right. 8, maybe 7.
Okay. I think it's
close to that. When you're so joyful, baby, the time just flies. Yes. But let's say this.
Yeah.
First married, 2 whole 100% beings come together.
Don't talk about that 50-50 now.
100% beings with totally different lifestyles. No matter, you know how people, oh my, y'all just get along. It's like y'all just alike. Two totally different lifestyles.
Two different people.
You just have some things that click, right? You know, just like the puzzle click in the same spot. But then when they don't click and you trying to figure out who you had married. So
it happens.
Did you ever have a prayer, Lord, help my husband? Get my husband. Lord, let him see the light.
Did he show you the light?
And he show you again. Like it's
girl,
wait a minute. And the light is coming. And you thinking this light is going to show all the change
hit your butt
of this mighty man of God. And it's you. Hey, hello?
You're the problem. Yes.
I'm the problem.
No, you're right. I mean.
So in this season, we're not praying for our husbands to change. We're praying for us. I ask God all the time, Lord, make me a better wife, a better mother, a better sister, a better aunt, a better friend, a better business owner, employee. Make me better. Stop trying to pray for other people. Pray for yourself. And I'm telling you, that has eased so much tension off of everything. Because I have issues. Let me tell you, I live in the spirit of joy, but it is some issues that I have and I deal with. And I have to say, Lord, change me for the better to help me deal with these things. Because I could pray for somebody all day, but until they have the will and understand and want to change, girl, that prayer is going like this, hitting your forehead and falling down. So Lord, help me.
And usually when you pray that, especially in a marriage, I feel like God softens your heart. He deals with you. And usually he deals with that husband. Because you're doing your part. You know what I mean? So it is very easy. Because you're right. You'd be like, God, he needs to do this and he needs to do that. He needs to. And God's like, no, turn that finger back to you. And it doesn't mean that what they're doing is not wrong, but it's God is dealing with our hearts, right? And you could definitely pray for your husband, but you got to look at yourself first
and change. You got two universes coming together, not worlds. You got two universes coming together. And sometimes it feels different. You don't understand it, and then when you're trying to communicate with each other, you're different. And sometimes that communication, you have a communication process different.
We ain't got to talk on and on for marriage.
And this is just not with marriage. This can be relationships too. Please. Use this for relationships, right? Because sometimes what I'm saying right now, you may not receive it how I'm saying it. No matter how clear I'm saying it, you can hear something else.
I heard somebody say, and I think this is so good, I hope I don't mess it up. One of the major problems with communication is assuming that it happened.
I heard that.
And I heard that blew my mind.
I heard that. I know who said that.
That is so good.
That is absolutely
so good.
Powerful. Do you understand? Do you understand how powerful? So like this conversation that we are having,
miscommunication.
We could be thinking, I'm like, oh, Charbria, she heard me. Charbria probably heard nothing.
And I'm like, what she was saying?
What she say?
Or I'm mad at something because I'm perceiving it a certain way and that's not what she meant.
Exactly.
But if we're honest with each other, then I say, Deraee, did you mean? But sometimes we don't do that.
We
just go straight to mad. And we know we all have been guilty of that before.
Because what is communication? When you just said believing that it happened, what is communication? Communication is two people understanding each other.
You spoke, I heard, vice versa, and we understand.
What each other That's meant. What communication is. I think people stop. They think just communication is people talking. But did I hear you? Did you understand me? Right? That's so good.
And most times people do not hear or understand because, first of all, a lot of times we're thinking about what we're going to say. So we're not listening.
Or we have so much on our mind. We have so much. I got, and I got to get better with this. I have something on my mind and then somebody has come talk to me and they think because I'm not saying anything, I'm actually hearing them.
Girl, I be knowing she'll be hearing me. I don't be thinking, I be like, Deraee, come back to planet Earth.
Like, girl, I was in the spirit. Girl,
you be like, no, what you said? You were like, can you send that to me again? I already know you. She be busy.
So it's not always a person just being mean or not caring about what you say. A lot of times because of what we're doing, we have so much just going in our head. And like you said, you believe that communication happened and it actually did.
I was
like, that was awesome.
I was like, what?
I feel you on that.
I was like,
and then I had to take it and I said, man, I take it, I got to do better.
Right. You're absolutely right. Better. Yeah, because I know I could talk fast and be going and it's like, did they really... You know what I'm saying? Understand. Or are they offended and I didn't clarify? You know what I mean? And I think clarifying questions is so good because if you feel away, because a lot of times we're not understanding what the other person's really trying to mean. We just heard the tone and be like, that ain't it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, non-verbal cues and, your voice and how you're speaking. I'm going to tell you, all this intertwines and comes back to living in the spirit of joy, because God wants us to have the best life. Like, He wants this life to be so awesome for us. But when we turn it back to ourselves and figure out what we're able to do, and like it's 11 principles in here that He gave me. It was, and I just said 11 ways, right? 11 ways He gave me. But at the end, I asked, how many ways can you find, or what can you add to this, where God is going to show you how you're able to live in the spirit of joy over any circumstance, And this is a practice. This is something you have to do daily. You have to be reminded of it. And that's another thing. Joy is not a one night stand. No. Joy is this is a lifestyle. Yeah. You want to choose it as a lifestyle. And I'm telling you, I have testimonies of people going back to this book when they have something has happened to them, and they will go back to this book and they will read something that God has imparted in me to give to them, and they use it as a guide. I heard I had a teacher say she's used it at least 6 times. I like that. This book was introduced into a school where a teacher bought 15 books and gave it to the children, and they had a workshop about the books. Also, Living in the Spirit of Joy is in the middle schools, where they have a what's the thing we can the machine where you can put some money in there. The vending machine. So they have books in the vending machine.
Oh, that's so cute. At a middle school?
Yes. Okay. And Living in the Spirit of Joy is one day they can choose when they do something great and they get a reward, they're able to choose Living in the Spirit of Joy. So that's awesome. My mission is, God told me this. I was minding my own business. This is another thing. You minding your own business. I had did the book like He told me to. And I'm telling you, I was disobedient. And the first time I did an ebook, He told me, I didn't tell you to do an ebook, because I didn't even want to have a handbook. I was really not trying to do this author thing. But after He told me to do this, He spoke clearly to me. This was in 2023. He spoke clearly and said, I want joy to be in every household. And I said, okay. Another thing where we believe we understand what He said. So I think I just supposed to sell books everywhere. I'm just thinking, that's one way. But one way is having this podcast. Having Joy Talk, the workshop. Now I have a Living in the Spirit of Joy workshop that's held every month, where we're at right now, where I'm able to give principles to people, and then they're able to share joy. Love that, And so that's how it gets all over the world. I share with you, you share with someone else, and someone else shares, someone else shares.
So where can they get this book?
All right, so you are able to purchase Living in the Spirit of Joy on my website, www.deraee.com. You're also able to purchase it on Amazon as well. So again, www.deraee.com. I will go there because you can get a signed copy of the book.
Okay, go there. And then you have another book. What's the name of your other book?
Yes, so I have 2 other publications. Get Up and Get Lit. This was written this year. And then this is Live Intentionally Today. So we'll have to do a whole nother podcast on this, because God is truly awesome how I wrote this book in 24 hours before this citywide book fair. And then also I have, with a collaboration of 6 other empowerment coaches, Rise and Thrive, transformative lessons from empowerment coaches. This is awesome as well. And my chapter is Live Intentionally Today.
I love that.
All about purpose, okay? And you can get all these publications on www.deraee.com.
That's awesome. So where can they follow you?
You can follow me on all my social, all social, right? At Deraee Henderson. So that's on Facebook. That is on YouTube. That is on, what's that? Instagram, TikTok, Deraee Henderson.
Everywhere. On social media, right?
On social media, yes.
Support her, ladies. As you see, like, this is powerful. This is a really good book. Check out some of her other products. As she said, once a month, you can reach out to her for her workshop. She has a lot coming up, so you want to get this, or get this in the hands of someone else.
Yes.
So, as you guys know right now, you can follow me at Maxed Out Girl, Host Charbria Shine, and our Single Woman Chronicles.
SWC, baby. Hey. She said I had to wait till She said I had to wait till the end of the podcast to get lit.
So as you see, she's hired.
Hey.
So not only is she an entrepreneur, she's also an actor. So that's why people say we do so much.
Hey.
But it's ministry. We love it. And so Single Woman Chronicles, March 29th.
Get the top.
That's her character, Tatiana. So go to swcthestageplay.com. Use code SWC10 for the early bird sale ending November 30th. Again, March 29th. We are going to have a blast. So share that. Come on out. We're going to have so much fun. And we're going to be actually talking about our Galentine's Day event / empowerment on February 8th. More information will be released this week. So we love you, and we hope we said something that encouraged, inspired, and elevated your thinking. But don't forget to max out, girl. I'm Charbria Shine. Talk to you next time. Bye, guys.